The trade deadline was a little bit ago, and I didn't think Cincinnati's front office would give me another reason to be mad at them. But here we are, almost a week away from that heartbreaking, disappointing Ravens loss. And now we have a bone to pick with the front office. During this mini bye week, as some fans call it, Cincinnati played Baltimore on Thursday. Don't have to play on Sunday. The next game is the next Sunday, so you get like a week and a half to prepare for the next game. And during this mini bye week, Cincinnati brought in a few vets to practice and train with the Cincinnati Bengals. One of the two of them I want to focus on is Xavien Howard and Leonard Fournette. Xavien Howard was a cornerback, played with the Miami Dolphins until he was recently released, and he has been a free agent. And Leonard Fournette bounced from a few teams: Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, and Buffalo, and now as a free agent, he was a running back. He was a first-round pick out of LSU. But over the week, both came in Cincinnati, practice with us for a little bit. First, I want to talk about Leonard Fournette, considering we kind of have our two running backs we need. No spoilers here, but we didn't sign either of the players. Nobody that worked out with the Bengals was signed except for a running back that was signed to the practice squad. But in terms of Xavien Howard and Leonard Fournette, neither of them are a Cincinnati Bengal. So let's just jump right into it and what the front office did or did not do to get those players to sign. First, I want to talk about Xavien Howard. Oh, sorry, I lied. I want to talk to you about Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette worked out with the Bengals, like I said. He's bounced from team to team, was a first-round pick overall, but he has kind of turned into not what the prospects thought he would turn into in the NFL, considering his NFL career. Still a great running back. He was a great running back at LSU, and he was a decent running back in the NFL, but Cincinnati didn't even offer him a deal. I'm assuming after the training they said we're probably better off with just running with Chase Brown and Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert. They're fine going with them as the 1-2 punch. Chase Brown has been picking up the slack that Zach Moss has left since he got injured. Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert. Sorry, I keep messing up the name. Khalil Herbert. Only saw him one play against Baltimore and he fumbled. Then we didn't give him another chance in the rest of the game. I think now that he's had a week and a half to learn the Bengals offense, to be around the guys, I think most likely this coming up Sunday with again the game against the Chargers, we'll probably see Herbert a little bit more. So I think with the front office and the coaching staff trusting in Zach Moss and Khalil Herbert as the 1-2 punch, and if Zach Moss ends up does coming back, even though it's not looking likely, that we'll have a good core that they trust in the running back room. But I understand why we didn't go after Leonard Fournette as heavily as we should have. Let's take a quick look at some of his stats through his years in the NFL. Leonard Fournette, his career stats, he has 1,144 carries, with those carries accumulating 4,518 rushing yards. What I like here is that he averaged almost pretty much 4 yards per carry. So he was a great back to have. 2 handoffs in a row, pretty much first downs. So he's consistent back, getting you 3 to 4 yards every single run. And he on his career has 34 touchdowns. So he's been a consistent player. He was great in college. I love watching him in college. I'm a huge college football fan. He was great to watch at LSU. I'm gonna take a sip of water real quick. But I think, like, once again, just with everything that was going on with Zach Moss, Chase Brown, and Khalil Herbert, I think Cincinnati trust their core enough where they didn't feel like they had to push for Leonard Fournette as much. However, when we look at the other player, Xavien Howard, that was with the Bengals, practicing with them this weekend, he was the player I really wanted Cincinnati to sign. And we tried. I don't know how hard we tried, which is why I have a bone to pick with Cincinnati. But after the training and after the practice, Cincinnati offered Howard a deal, and they couldn't come to an agreement. So Howard is still a free agent, and Cincinnati is still lacking in the cornerback position. We have been one of the worst cornerback rooms in NFL this season, and one of the worst passing defenses, and one of the worst defenses in the NFL in general. And Xavien Howard, a little bit older, 31 years old, but he was still such a consistent cornerback, and in his prime, he was considered one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And I think even though he's old, 31, he's getting up there in age for a cornerback in the NFL, having that depth, that veteran depth, and that veteran presence in the locker room could have been exactly what the Cincinnati Bengals cornerback room needed. Especially you have Geno Stone and Von Bell, both older veterans that have that veteran presence, and they're at another one on top of that. It could have changed the whole trajectory, of the Cincinnati's DB rooms. Unfortunately, we didn't get a deal done, and I wonder why. Cincinnati's front office always seems to give us exactly what we expect. We don't expect anything from the front office because they never do anything in general. I was surprised they even brought in some guys to practice with them. Am I surprised that they didn't end up signing them? No, because Cincinnati never wants to spend money. They want to do everything the cheapest way possible. But when you're in this kind of situation, which Cincinnati's in, Joe Burrow's playing the best he's ever played, Jamar Chase is playing the best he's ever played, Trey Hendrickson is playing the best he's ever played, and we're still losing games. You have to spend money to stay in the playoff race, and we're only one game behind in the AFC wildcard. So we're comfortably in a spot to make a playoff run. And you can ask any team in the NFL, one team they do not want to play in the playoffs is the Cincinnati Bengals because of Joe Burrow. And if you could have just got Xavien Howard to sign a deal, be with Cincinnati, even if it was just for the rest of this year, add that depth because we're missing Dax Hill for the remainder of the year, got hurt in the beginning of the year, is missing the whole season. We just needed some depth in the cornerback room to give the cornerback room some help. Just a little bit of help. Cam Taylor-Britt has struggled this year, and adding a veteran presence would have completely changed how the season was going, especially a cornerback with the level of Xavien Howard, how great of a cornerback he is. It would have changed the Cincinnati cornerback room from here to here. And let's look at his stats and talk about why Cincinnati should have done whatever it took to get him as look, this is career stats. Drafted by the Dolphins in 2016, and since then he has 331 tackles. He has 258 solo tackles, 2 sacks. Obviously, he's a cornerback, so they're not trying to sack that often. But he has 4 forced fumbles and 5 fumble recovered. What I want to talk about is the fact that he has, since 2016, 29 interceptions. And in 2 of those seasons, he led the NFL in interceptions. In 2020, he had 20 deflections and 10 interceptions. The 10 interceptions was his career high, and both of those stats, 20 deflections and 10 interceptions, led the NFL. And that was only 4 years ago he was doing that, and he's a 4-time Pro Bowl player. Howard is a dog. He's one of the best cornerbacks, one of the best cornerback available in free agency, one of the best cornerbacks in the 2010s, 4-time Pro Bowler, one of the most consistent backs, and compared to some of the top cornerbacks still on teams right now, compared to their interceptions who have been playing, I'm not going to talk about Sauce Gardner because he's only been in the league for a few years, but looking at other cornerbacks who have been in the league around the same amount of time, look at their interceptions compared to Howard's. Howard has 29 since 2016. Jalen Ramsey, he has 23 interceptions since that time. Denzel Ward came in a few years after. Howard has 15 interceptions, and Travarius Ward only has 10. Those are 3 of one of the best cornerbacks in the league right now, or considered some of the best cornerbacks in that time frame Howard has been in the league. These are 3 of the best in that time frame, and they all 3 have less than Howard. And if you even add Denzel Ward with 15 interceptions and Ward, well, both Wards, Denzel Ward and Charvarius Ward with 15 and 10, 25 interceptions. How many does Xavien Howard have? 29. He has more than 2 of those players combined, and he still has more than Jalen Ramsey, who is still considered one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So, front office, Cincinnati, what? Call him again. See if you can rework a deal. He's already back where he lives, training again, waiting for a right opportunity. Call him back up. He's waiting to go onto a team. Call him again. Call him again. Xavien Howard, what do you want? What do you need to be a Cincinnati Bengal? Do whatever he wants you to do, unless it's obviously ridiculous, and I bet it wasn't. I bet Cincinnati had a number they wouldn't go over, and Xavien Howard asked for over that number, and they said, no, we're not going to budge, because Cincinnati doesn't budge. But in this situation that Cincinnati's in, with the level that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Trey Hendrickson are playing, and even Chase Brown starting to pick it up, and T. Higgins when he's on the field, this is the best season we have watched Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase play. And it very likely is going to be wasted with poor defensive play. Who's that to blame? Honestly, the front office. Jesse Bates, one of the best safeties in the league right now, and we let him go to the Falcons after he was one of the best safeties in the league on Cincinnati. Instead of re-signing him, we let him go to the Falcons this offseason. We got rid of DJ Reader, let him go to the Lions. He's playing well. Cincinnati, for whatever reason, doesn't really want to focus on the defense. And now, since some of the players that we have let go, Awuzie, cornerback, we've let him go, we've let him walk. Cincinnati's defense is struggling. Xavien Howard could have been the answer to not completely flip the script and make us one of the best defenses in the league, but just one player that we could have used to improve the defense the slight bit that we needed to improve. Against the Ravens, both games, we just needed 1 stop from the defense, and that would have been 2 wins that Cincinnati doesn't have right now. Instead of 4-6, we would have been 6-4 against the Chiefs. We just needed 1 stop. We just needed 1 more stops, and we would have beat the Chiefs against the Washington Commanders. We just needed 1 more stop to get us into the game, especially that last drive when Jaden Daniels threw a dime to Terry McLaurin. We just needed 1 stop that game to keep that game close enough for Joe Burrow to have a 2-minute drive to go win the game. And if you flip around all of those games with the defense making literally 1 more stop, Xavien Howard could have been that person to cause that stop, Cincinnati right now we would be talking very differently towards Cincinnati. They would have a winning record, probably be one of the already in the wild card, if not winning the AFC North. Probably not because of how the Steelers have been playing, but we would have been closer to number 2 in the AFC North rather than 3. And with how the season is going, it's most likely not going to happen that we're going to win the AFC North, so we have to bank on a wild card spot, but we're still only 1 game behind. And what could have changed that to give us 1 game ahead instead of 1 game behind? It could have been Xavien Howard, but the front office failed once again. They failed at the trade deadline without not getting Marshawn Lattimore or Chase Young helping the defense, and once again, they even brought in somebody to practice with the Bengals, and they didn't get the signing done. So, that was the updates for today. Front office disappoints once again. But tomorrow, we'll be talking about what some injury updates looking like Orlando Brown, what it's going to look like for Orlando Brown and T. Higgins to play this Sunday. And then Friday, we will have the game breakdown against the Chargers, which is Sunday Night Football this upcoming Sunday. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the Bengals Digest channel so you can get a notification whenever we post. No matter what time of day, you'll get a notification when we post. Remember to subscribe, like the video, comment if you enjoyed the video. I'm Carson Lokey. I'll see you next time. Peace out.